This is the one true only gamer boss Braun. The informational line for True Backlash.
And the First Lady of Media, Blue.
Coming to you with another movie review. Today, Terminator Genisys. Spelled with Genisys for you literal Nazis out there. Alrighty. So, story. Who wants to start?
Well, that would be me. That's my department.
That is your department.
Patent pending, patent pending, patent pending. Unless you guys wanted to do it, which I'll do it this time. Okay, so you know the story of the Terminators. Skynet sends this robot killing machine to whack a woman named Sarah Connor, so her son, John Connor, would never be in existence, and hence the reason for them having so much trouble taking over the world. Of course.
Same old, same old. We've been there, done that, bought 3 of the DVDs.
So Kyle Reese, in this incarnation, played by Jai Courtney, is sent back in time by John Connor, not knowing a couple things that would be important later on to the stories of Terminator 2, Terminator 3, and Terminator Salvation, which apparently the latter two are now retconned into not happening. Thank you very much, movies. Anyway, so he goes back in time, and what he was told by John Connor, played by I think John Clark, I'll have to look that up in a minute, they're radically different from what he understands. Sarah Connor, a waitress and one of the obligatory damsels in distress of the 80s, is suddenly packing heat. She's a sniper. She knows how to use all sorts of guns.
So she's more like Judgment Day Sarah Connor than original Terminator Sarah Connor.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have a T-800 played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Was there any other kind who looks very old, which is weird, and 2
old, not obsolete,
and 2 is a good guy, which T2 on down. He's been a good guy, but this is also actually a different T-800 than the one that was sent to kill Sarah Connor. In fact, that one, well, I won't say anything about that one, but this T-800 is called Pops, and apparently has been taking care of Sarah Connor. What's going on?
Since she was 9 years old.
Since she's 9 years old. What's going on? Has everything collapsed on itself? Well, obviously anyone who's worked with time travel movies or seen time travel movies before knows this is an alternate universe.
Yep. Not 616, but 287.
So again, the last Salvation and Terminator 3 have been retconned. Terminator 2 has been radically changed. And guess what? Skynet is back, and they ain't taking no for an answer. They got a couple new tricks, and they plan on taking over the world once again.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
So, the goods. Since Backlash started, I will start with the goods. The goods of the movie is that it's actually a pretty great movie. Truth time, people. You know, after Terminator 3, it was good enough, but it was definitely not Judgment Day. And after I saw that, it sort of turned me off. I thought, you know, Terminator had seen its day and should be just pushed to the side and kept under just good memories. That's why I never saw Salvation myself. I hear Salvation wasn't a critically acclaimed fan favorite either, but this movie should be, because it did most of the things right I expect from a Terminator. Action, robot-on-robot violence, the hardware, Arnold being Arnold, even being funny this time, and not just wearing, like, strange, weird, like, glasses for humor, actually being humorous for an old T-800 robot. You know, you kind of like the Connors. I guess I could call them the Connors. They're not technically married, but still. Oh, and the Terminators. Yes, plural. Terminators are also very, very, what is it? Not only... Oh, sorry. It seems like Blue is messing around with new technology. Skynet's coming after us. Run, everybody! Skynet doesn't want us to finish the review.
Blue is so sorry.
That's okay. It happens to us all. Believe me. But anywho, yeah, the enemy Terminators are back, and you get this. It's an all-star of Terminators this time around. You'll get to see all your old favorites, and I loved it. It was a little slow in the beginning, but as it ramped up and it introduced the parallel reboot universe, I said, yeah, I'm on board with this. So yeah, I definitely liked all that good stuff. So who's next?
I'll go. My first good is J.K. Simmons. He's also in this movie. Oh, by the way, the person who played John Connor this time was Jason Clarke, not John Clarke. I apologize. And I'm trying to see if he's related to Emilia Clarke, who played Sarah Connor this time, because that would be kind of interesting.
I do know that the person who's playing what's his name? Not John Connor, but the other guy.
Kyle Reese.
Kyle Reese and her are related because they have the same last name.
No. Jai Courtney is Kyle Reese. John Connor's played by Jason Clarke, yeah.
Jason Clarke.
And Sarah Connor's played by Emilia Clarke. They aren't related.
Yeah, you are. You're right.
They aren't related.
I'm totally wrong about that.
Well, anyway, J.K. Simmons is also in this movie. He doesn't do a lot in this movie, but ever since I found out he was the green M&M and then the yellow M&M, green M&M is Cree Summers and a girl. The yellow M&M and then doing J. Jonah Jameson everywhere he could, and then he was in Portal. I've come to like the guy. He's not a wrestler, but he's easily one of the people I look forward to in a movie because he always does so well. And if it's Academy Award win the last couple of months that haven't shown you that, you haven't watched enough J.K. Simmons. That being said, Terminator Genisys, is it as good as Terminator 2? I don't know yet. I'd have to rewatch. Probably not, but you know what this movie did?
What they did?
This movie showed that you don't have to be a superhero movie or a movie about magic spells and mysticism and all this bombastic sci-fi. And it's sci-fi, obviously, but it's more grounded sci-fi. It's grittier. It's not as grittier as T2, but it gave you an action movie. And sadly, unlike Expendables 3 and the last couple Die Hard movies, we, as a group, enjoyed them, but everyone felt it was old and tired, and these old stars should get off their high horse, and these new stars don't know what they're doing. This movie, I honestly think, will have some minds change this time, because it had a lot of hardcore, hard-hitting action, and the story still felt fresh. And honestly, I had a blast with it. The action was hardcore. Apparently the T-1000 this time around... Okay, somewhat spoiler.
Well, it was in the trailer, so...
Yeah, Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe.
Ah!
Yeah.
That's who that was.
Yes.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
And so, it honestly was fantastic. The story... I mean, it's an action movie. What do you want?
Yeah, what do you want? You want war and peace, people? You want mice and men? This is called Terminator, when Austrian 60-year-old actor, 70-year-old actor?
I'm not sure anymore. But anyway, it's like, the story was okay overall. But as far as the emotional scenes with Sarah...
There were a few, I'll admit.
And Kyle and Pops talking about destiny, talking about what is human, what is not human, what considers not human. It's cliche, but it's still very interesting because, you know, for so long you always see that Kyle Reese was always pegged into this role. Sarah Connor is always pegged into this role, and Arnold is always destined to die. And you know, it's a lot of that's touched upon, and it's quite nice. And well, that's all I got to say about that for me.
Whoop.
Yeah, as far as the likes are concerned, I thought the nice thing about whenever you take an existing movie that is already amazing and outstanding on every level, and then try to redo it in some way and repackage it for a new audience and still amaze the old existing folks who have been tried and true diehard fans of it, it's a very difficult thing. It's a balancing act, and I think for the most part they've gotten just the right nuances in this role, this plot line for the people who who go to these movies and know everything that happened in Terminator 1 and 2, and even 3 that kind of didn't like. But anyway, Terminator 1 and 2, I'll mention those only. And then we've written it in such a way that it's fresh, but at the same time it makes sense. I mean, you don't want to go there knowing this happened before this, and this happened after this, and then they've gotten all these facts twisted. No, they did a great job doing it. They've given it a fresh viewpoint, but still brought in all the things that we expect when we go to see a Terminator movie. I mean, after all, Arnold is the Terminator. There isn't any other. Even though there'll be people that'll come and play a role, he is the Terminator.
That's right. Any more?
No. Well, there's just a couple little other small things. Like, I like the fact that the timing was well paced in the movie. I mean, they gave you a screenshot early on, without there being any spoilers, of what time would have been like if all of this had come to fruition, and it kind of left off where some of the other Terminator movies led you to. So I like that.
That's true.
And then at the same time, you know, Arnold has a personality as the Terminator. And they kept that intact. And I love that. And then, you know, even the Sarah Connor figure, you know, Sarah Connor she was awesome.
She was scrappy.
She was scrappy.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate, and it's really hard to find someone to play her.
But she's on a sensitive side.
But this one came through being realistic as Sarah Connor, and she did maintain a very feminine side.
I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, honestly, don't take this the wrong way. I mean, feminists are probably going to send me hate mail, but I really usually don't like
To
characters.
Backlash, by the way, not to me.
Yeah.
Or to Blue, because she's a girl.
Yeah, but it's good. Blue
I
is
mean, usually
angel.
I don't like those girl power characters that say, we can do anything men can do, and I'm not a weak-willed woman anymore, and they have a little bit, they do that a little bit with Sarah, but you gotta look at Sarah's perspective. This Sarah's different from Linda Hamilton, but before. It's not because she's a woman, and at least not completely, and in fact, they talk about that too. It's about the fact that she's always destined to be the damsel in distress initially, that she's always meant for something bigger that isn't of herself, that she has no control of her destiny whatsoever. They talk about that a lot in future-based movies and television shows. And she controls her own destiny.
I'm just saying that she wasn't really weak in Judgment Day.
Right.
Not that I saw it.
Right.
She's like right up there with Ripley. And as for Destiny, I mean, time and destiny are not the same thing. The only difference is that destiny tells you what will happen. Time is what happened. So it's not destiny if it already happened.
Yeah.
She was just salty because she just, I don't know.
Well, you do also like
she was young and confused, and her. Well, I won't say what else,
yeah, but
because that's a spoiler.
I do.
But once you watch the movie, you'll understand.
I do like the fact
conflicting emotions.
I do like the fact that she and the T-800, aka Pops, had such a good rapport that she was able to make me laugh a couple times too. So
yeah, spoiler. Don't say anymore.
Yeah, because when you go to this movie, you really don't. You're coming in kind of objective. You don't really know what role anybody plays in this movie. You don't really know who the bad guy is. You don't know who the good guy is. You know how you remembered it. And so for you to come in and sit down, it's nice to get that, the freshness there. I mean, it's going to keep it sort of under wraps, and then you get there, and then it all starts to reveal itself. But then initially, you really don't know who to trust, and you really don't know who's who, and that's a really good way to keep it. And then I gotta say, are we on likes?
You were still on likes. We're running a little long, so let's wrap this up.
I'll make this really quick because I have to say I gotta give due props to T-1000 for his appraisal in the role, and also Jason Clarke. I think
for a minute there, I thought the T-1000 was going to be the main villain again because he was
I don't want to say too much.
He was so good.
Yeah, without a doubt. Right? I don't want to say.
Unfortunately, we won't be saying too much about the main villain because people have been whining about seeing the second extended trailer. So they know who the main villain is already.
I just found out about that when I was doing my research.
They wouldn't shut up about it, but I didn't watch the trailer, so I was still surprised.
Well, I was surprised too.
That's not going to be one of my bads. Let's put it that way.
Not going to be my bad either.
Well, you know what? I think for the most part, if you didn't get a chance to find out too much about the movie going in, that's only going to be better for you in the long run. So, we won't tell you too much, but those pieces won't let you down.
Right. All right, let's go to the bads. Who wants to start?
I'll do it. This is probably going to be a gaggle of nitpicks.
Of course.
I mean, quasi-spoiler, I got kind of started getting sick of Kyle's suspicious nature. It was really starting to grate on my nerves. And then, when they brought characters back like Miles Dyson, who Miles Dyson was in this movie. I won't say too much about his role, but the actor they played him, they could have brought back Henry from Eureka, a.k.a. Liv's dad from Scandal, to do the role. Nope, Courtney B. Vance from Law & Order, which is fine, but why couldn't they get the original actor back? Or what about Earl Bowen, the psychiatrist from the first 3 Terminator movies? Why couldn't you get him back? It's like, why can't you get some of the older actors aside from Arnold back? It's understandable not to have Sarah Connor or the original Kyle Reese or the original John Connor or even Christian Bale or even Teen.
Don't say Christian Bale. The fans don't like him as
the fans don't like him. In this role.
But I mean, it's like you watch the Batman movies he's been in, and to Prestige, they'll love him. But anyway, I mean, these are just little nitpicks. Okay, long story short, there's this internet guy named the Star Critic, and he's starting to complain about CG.
Are we pushing other internet celebrities?
I have a point. He complained so much about CGI, and most of the times I don't care to see it. But this is another nitpick. I kind of actually noticed some parts, and it didn't take me out of the film. It's just some stuff it's impossible to do without CGI. But
okay, was it in the beginning, middle, or the end?
The middle. I wish they used some more practical effects in the movie. And despite how gritty that movie was, I did notice a couple things. But again, this is nitpicks. I can't really fault them for any of their logic. They tried to explain as much as they could about what was happening in terms of this movie's story. And the only other thing is another nitpick is I wish they would have if they were going to retcon T3 and Terminator Salvation, I wish they would have used some of the other robots. Like the TX doesn't get a cameo in this at all.
It sort of does, but again, you have to watch the movie to find out.
And I'm gonna also take it to task a little bit. Not a nitpick. I'll take it to task for kinda, in their own way, cribbing from Days of Futures Past, okay? That's the only legit bad I have on it.
Yeah. But still, I didn't mind it so much. Blue, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, I have a nitpick, and it is a nitpick, because unlike, Backlash, I thought these special effects were pretty cool. I actually didn't notice anything that stood out in my mind as being really obvious, so I'll have to get with him offline and try to discuss this to see what I missed. But overall, I thought I got a chance to see some pretty neat new things that haven't been done or that I haven't seen done in other movies of the day, so that was refreshing. But the nitpicks I have is some of the characters early on in the movie that have been identified kind of just went away. You never saw them again. I mean, I don't really want to say for you guys, but certainly at the beginning of the movie, they seemed like they were going to have a role. And then at the end, when everything kind of played out, you just never saw those people again.
During one of the flashbacks, I think they explained where but again, when we're off mic, we'll discuss it further.
Absolutely. But that's pretty much it for me in the form of nitpicks. There are some things about the story that just didn't have the kind of, it was really great as far as connecting the dots with the Terminator shows, movies, but in terms of the actual cohesiveness of the storyline within this show, there were some holes that definitely were missed. But other than that, that's a nitpick. It truly is, because you'd have to think hard and long about that in order for you to walk away with that thinking.
Well, for me, since we're running over long again, and technically not, but we're trying to keep things quick these days, I will be quick. Like Backlash said, there was a CGI notice from me, but unlike it being the middle or the end, it was seamless to me. It was the beginning with the one epic fight between one force and another force, but to be honest with you, they would not have it. They need to do that fight in CGI for the other guy. Otherwise, it'd be impossible. So I noticed it, but it's totally understandable.
I knew exactly what you were
It wasn't a bad thing. It's just something I noticed. The other thing that I would say is the only other nitpick I have was the ending of the movie. Only because it was I kind of saw it a mile away. I mean, you expect certain things, and and let's just say that, you know, not ending is every ending, but merely a new beginning. I would have liked that new beginning to maybe show up in the next movie, and believe me, there will be a next movie.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just you want to be a little bit surprised.
And I think that there was an opportunity they missed with the ending. They could have really played that ending up to be something.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, so that's all my, you know, complaints. Everything else, I definitely enjoy this movie, and I'm glad to say it. It was just like X-Men X3 all over again. I was hoping, I was expecting pretty lackluster to bad, but I got good, and I'm happy.
Are you talking about X-Men 3 as you mean it, or at Days of Futures Past?
3 as in X3.
Okay, all right.
But anywho, ratings, go.
You know what? Screw it. I'll give it a platinum pass. Copying up Days of Future Past doesn't bother me all that much. And it didn't do it like throughout the film, just time travel parts of it. Let's put it that way. But overall, it was a gritty action movie that, you know, we haven't gotten in a very long time that really felt like it was really, really old school. And I love the Expendables series, and I still love Die Hard, but this really felt closer to what the Terminator should have been all along.
Well, Expendables is just like an all-star thing, sort of like Smash.
Yes.
So it wasn't its own property. As for Die Hard series, well, you know, we never really were into that kind of series, so it's hard to gauge if this is how they go about the movies or not. But I totally agree, because Arnold was in it, and it brought some of that old school fanfare and fun, and as you say, gritty action. That's why it's so successful.
I just hope he's old and obsolete. I hope you can back those words up. That you better carry that weight, because we're waiting for you.
He's still got to work out.
well,
Keep going.
I actually feel the same way. I enjoyed it. It's a platinum pass for me. I think Arnold definitely still has it, and you know, I really was happy to see the bad guys. I mean, you know, I think everything went well. We had some good heroes. It was just a well-rounded, good movie. It gave me a good dose of nostalgia, like Backlash says, and it definitely did not disappoint, like Ron says. So, hey, you know, I only got one thing to tell you at the end. Do not get up and leave your seats, or you'll miss something when the credits are rolling.
Yeah, obviously, guys. Come on.
There's a little sneaker in
You
there.
guys got up in the middle of the movie and
Yeah,
said, "Don't do that."
Almost everyone laughed.
Come on.
I even questioned it myself. Is there what do they call it? I forget. Is there like an after credit scene? Let's put it that way. After the end of this, and
You know there is.
Yep.
And as for me, platinum pass. I was thinking about giving it a pass, but only really 2 errors. It surprised me that how good this actual movie is, and more makes up for lackluster movies of recent past. So it platinum passes for me as well.
Great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, it is. So it's a good movie to show everybody. You know, don't take your little kids, but maybe your pre-teenage kids. I think they're old enough to handle the white-hot intensity action that they will see. And, you know,
cover their eyes when you start to see man butt from lightning skies, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just doesn't last.
then you know what?
This
You know
isn't
that-
Magic Mike.
It's no Magic Mike.
Yeah, you know,
Trust me.
And believe me, you know that if you're any Terminator fan worth of salt knows that's not a spoiler.
And
Yeah.
there's no Magic Mike XXL either.
Yes. Yes. So with that, this is the one from the Gamer Boss
The
Bros.
information line for a true backlash.
And the First Lady of Media, Blue.
Saying dum 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 dum. Ant-Man's coming.
I'll be
Yeah.
back.